Let's have a look at the Evolution X ROM for the Poco X3 Pro. As you can see here, it is based out of Android version 12 and it also has the latest Android security patch level as of now, 5th June 2022. And here is the launcher that this ROM comes with. Do note that this ROM has inbuilt Google apps and you do not need to flash them separately. And here are the home settings that are available. This is basically the Pixel launcher and it has the usual settings that you find with a Pixel launcher. You can turn on and off the suggestions in the app launcher and the home, and you have allow home screen rotation, overview suggestions, swipe to access Google app from the left panel, and other stuff, nothing special. And here are the wallpaper and style options, as you can see, and you can customize basically the look and feel of this particular ROM, as you can see. And you can also enable or disable the dark theme from here easily, and you can also enable themed icons and change the app grid size. And as you can see here, not all the icons have changed, so they probably need to be updated to be supported, but it kind of looks nice. And here are the quick settings. You can split the internet setting into Wi-Fi and mobile data, so that feature is pretty handy. Otherwise you can use this combined one if you are into that. And now let's talk about the performance. But first, you also have this feature, the select feature, and here using this you can select text even with images, as you can see here. This is basically a screenshot and it's able to select the text from that. You have the wildlife score of 3451 overall, and it has beaten only 51% of all the Poco X3 Pro users. So I have noticed that in this particular ROM the benchmark scores are relatively lower, and quite noticeably so than other custom ROMs that I have tried. And here is the single core score and the multi-core score. This is also lower compared to other ROMs. You can have a look at those scores in the playlist link that I have dropped down in the description below for Poco X3 Pro ROMs. And here's the CPU throttle test. Surprisingly, it does pretty decently here. There's no significant drop here, and it was throttled to about 89% of the max performance in 5 minutes, so that is actually pretty good. And in PUBG you can enable a certain setting which will show up this 90 FPS here. That setting I'll show you later, so stay tuned for that if you want to enable 90 FPS. And let's go into the settings. First of all, let's have a look at the system settings like gestures. You have quick tap actions on the back and they work pretty well. You can take a screenshot or do other stuff. You can quickly open the camera. You have system navigation gesture options. As you can see here, you have 3 and 2 button navigation as well, and here is the gesture navigation. You have advanced gesture options like long swipe edge on the edge, and you have these options that you can select from. And let's go back. You have back gesture, haptic feedback can be enabled or disabled, and similarly for the animation as well. And you can hide the space below the keyboard or keep it narrow while typing, but I leave it to the usual. You can hide the gesture indicator, as you can see. And you can also swipe up from the corners to enable the assistant. You can disable that. You can change the sensitivity, as you can see here, and you can also reduce the gesture area for the back gesture. You can customize the pill length or the pill radius as well. And now let's go back. You have the one-handed mode here, as you can see here. You can just simply use that by swiping down on the bottom of the screen. You can also enable this shortcut if you want, but I had that. You can swipe to take the screenshot with 3 fingers. That is a great feature. And you can also enable the power button to actually enable the assistant instead of doing the power menu. And you have volume keys control to control the playback of the music that you are playing. You have double tap options to check the phone. And now let's go back and let's quickly go through the display section option, because some neat features are tucked away there. You can also make the display extra dim if you are using the phone at night a lot, and you can change the intensity as well if you want. And let's go back. You have some lock screen options. You also have face unlock available on this particular ROM, and it works really well. You have pocket detection, dark theme, you have night light. You also have this reading mode. When you are reading books, you can calibrate the colors, and you have night light which can be scheduled. And let's go in, and you can enable full screen apps. You have ambient display options here. As you can see here, you can enable pickup, face to wake, gyroscope for pickup mode, hand wave, and pocket mode as well. You have advanced display features like high brightness mode when you are out in the sunlight. You have per app refresh rate selection as well. You can double tap to wake on the display. You have options to customize minimum refresh rate, maximum refresh rate, etc. And here you have natural, boosted and saturated modes for the colors, and you can further change the color balance from the bottom. And now let's move into the evolver settings. There are a lot of options here. You can use a black theme if you want, and now as you can see here, it is pitch black instead of being gray like usual. And you have the Mono engine where you can choose a custom color and use that instead. As you can see here, everything has turned a bit reddish, and here is where you can change the font. As you can see here, quite easily you can change the system icon pack, and the icon pack has changed. You have signal icon style as well. You can customize that as well, so pretty cool. You have Wi-Fi icon styles, and you can further change that. You have icon shape as well. Let me change it to this heart one, and as you can see here, it has changed. And you have status bar customization options. You can hide or show certain items from the status bar. You can change where the clock actually appears, and other options as well, like auto hide the clock, clock settings, AM PM. You have date option as well, and where date is displayed basically, and date style as well, as you can see here. And you have traffic indicators, and you can place it in the status bar or quick settings header. You have auto hide threshold. You have these other options like dynamic download or upload mode only. And let's go back. You can have show data disabled icon, or also have the battery bar as you can see here at the top. And you can also enable the charging animation, change the color. So overall this is pretty neat. You can change how the icon pack looks as you can see here, and you can also toggle color for battery icon depending on your battery percentage. And let's go back. You have certain other normal options. I have hidden away the VoLTE icon and VO Wi-Fi icon, but you can override it as well. You have roaming indicator as well, and I have hidden that. You have Bluetooth battery status, combined signal icons, mic and privacy indicator or location privacy indicator will show up at the top right when you are using these permissions. And you have notifications reticker. You have ambient edge lighting, which will basically light up the edges of the AOD whenever a new notification pops up. You can show the notification count as well. You have heads up customization options as you can see here, and other stuff. You can show a kill app button if you want. You have app notification options, battery light options, and you can blink the flashlight for incoming calls. You can ignore the DND. You can vibrate on call, connect, waiting or disconnect. And you have quick settings option here as well. As you can see, there are a number of options available here for you. And here you have button options. We already had a look at most of them, but let's go through the leftover ones. As you can see here, this is the volume panel on the left, and these options below, which are grayed out, are for 3-button navigation. So you can make the compact layout or invert 3-button layout. You have per app volume control as well. So it will basically depend on individual app. You can change the volume steps if you want for a more granular volume control. You have volume rake or rake, and you can also use volume keys to change the cursor position while you are typing. And here you had the quick settings. Let me quickly show you them in case I missed out on something. And here you have the power menu customizations. As you can see, there are so many options. You can enable them if you want, and this is how the option will look. And let's go back. You have gestures here. You can enable brightness control, and these are options we already saw most of them. Let's go back, and we already had a look here in the button settings. And here are the miscellaneous options. Here is the game space. You can basically enable certain apps to enable these options, like disable USB debugging, because some gaming apps take that, and you can disable auto brightness while you are playing games, etc., and lock gestures. So this is pretty handy, and you can also hide certain apps from the launcher if you want, and they won't show up in the launcher if this is enabled. And you have launch music app on headset connection. Screenshot type can be made partial. You have screen on animation. You also have a mod for unlimited photo storage, and this is the unlock higher FPS in games mode. So initially I only got 60 FPS maximum on PUBG, but after I enabled this option I got the 90 FPS option that I showed you earlier. And you have pulse options, like you have NABA pulse, locks in pulse, etc. when the music is playing. So these are the options there. And you have allow application degradation, you have show temperature warning, secure flags, you can also show CPU info if you want, and you can make a default USB connection if you want. So overall this ROM has been pretty good for me. The battery life is solid, and under heavy usage I was able to push it to give me about 6+ hours of screen on time. That is pretty great for my usage, and this ROM has been really smooth for me, no issues. I did not really play many games, so I cannot really comment on the gaming performance exactly, but in terms of day-to-day usage it was very smooth and I did not face any lags or stutters at all. And one last thing, this is the camera that this app comes with. So there is no MIUI camera here, just bare bones camera. So if you wanted MIUI camera, then you would have to look at some other ROM. But overall this is a ROM that pixel lovers who want a pixel experience should definitely give a shot, because this is basically a ROM that gives you a pixel experience, but on top of that gives you a lot of customization features, so that you don't miss out on any features that you want. So that's it for this video. If you liked it, click on the like button and also subscribe to my channel for more such videos.